Blog Talk Radio. Chatting with Nat is a podcast for independent artists seeking to speak their truth and to break down barriers. We host honest conversations that help to guide and empower artists. Speak your truth and set yourself free. Let your voice be heard. Hi, everyone. This is Chatting with Nat. It's Natalie Jeans and Natalie Jean. And today we have the honor of having award-winning singer-songwriter Dominic D'Cruz. Dominic D'Cruz is a musician in Bengaluru, India, who over the last 31 years has done everything connected with music: performance, composition, songwriting, teaching, and recording. Even worked in a music store. His music has received accolades: finalist in the SDG Action Awards, two-time winner in the Redemptorist Christian Music Video Festival, an Akademia Award, and a Global Music Award. He played bass guitar on the two-time Grammy Award-winning album Divine Tides by Stewart Copeland and Ricky Kaj. Grammy Nominated album Love Language by Wouter Kellerman. He continues to work in the studio and on stage and believes in putting thoughts down with a fountain pen and a pick. Let's give him a round of applause. Hi, Dominic. How are you?
Hey, hi Natalie. I'm good, thank you. Fine, thank you. How are you doing?
I'm okay. I'm still alive in this crazy world that we're living in. I mean, the past 3 years have been all I can describe is like crazy, mind-boggling, jaw-dropping. It's just been wild. So how have you been through elections, tsunamis, mass shootings, George Floyd, Terry Nichols? We have Roe versus Wade that has been overturned here. COVID had some babies. Measles, polio tried to make a comeback. I mean, how have you been through all these things that have gone on in the world?
Like everybody else, we were all locked down for quite some time, and
right.
But I mean, it worked a little good in a way because that's the time I actually got to work on some stuff that was stacking up.
Right.
Things like tunes that come into your head and you write them down somewhere and then you forget about it. So I pulled all those little bits of paper and those little recordings out and started working on them. So that was a good thing.
Yeah, so I'm glad you bring that up. So, because the next question is this. Obviously, the past 3 years have been something else, and COVID was like the down point of everything. A lot of people lost friends, family, pets, whatever. So that was a con. But like you said, there was pros to being locked down because people took the time to really self-reflect about what's going around their surroundings. And then you're basically cooped up with, people, your family members, people that you live with. And so you get to know these people. Like one of the things for me, several things is that, I saw more family members walking together, and that shouldn't be a strange thing. But because they had time to do it, they got to know each other again. Then I know colleagues that decided to cut back on work because they realized they weren't spending enough time. There are people that quit their jobs. There were several articles on people quitting their jobs because what the pandemic did is that it made people realize that truly life is short. And instead of trying to do a job, I have to work because I have to eat and I need food and I need clothes on my back, I'd rather do something that's more in line with my passion, my destiny. So a lot of people did that. Climate change, the pollution level went down when people were not on the streets. The animals, the trees, they were just like, I hope these people don't come back, but we had to come back. And then artists like you and I, we create albums, we do tracks, we do singles, whatever. We did our thing. But at the same time, there were some artists that decided I'm not doing music. Some people decide to rebrand. So
Yeah.
during this downtime for you, was there any type of self-reflection? Did you say, okay, with my music career, I'm staying the same? Was there anything different that you wanted to change? What did you think about?
Yeah, I mean, there was a lot of time for self-reflection, and like you said, um, you start thinking up of the stuff that you put on the back burner, stuff that you've
Right.
been putting off for a long time, and then you think, yeah, I mean, it's time. Life is short, of course, and that's the time you realize I've got to do something, and if I've got to do something, I've got to get started at least. If not, do
Right.
it now. Yeah.
Exactly.
So
Exactly.
yeah, things like that. Yeah, I mean, it was a good time to connect with the family and relatives and cousins that who with whom you've not really been so much in touch with.
True. Very,
And
very true.
yeah, I mean, besides writing songs, I mean, the songwriting always started with writing poems back in school. So
Mm.
I did come up with a couple of verses on the lockdown situation, the pandemic, and
Right.
people who were actually losing people, family members and stuff like that. So yeah,
Mhm.
there was an offshoot to that as well. But a lot of realization, like you said,
Yeah.
um, the time to get started is now. Don't keep putting things off
Amen.
on a back burner.
Amen to that. Amen to
Yeah.
that. How did you get started in the music industry? Did you come out of the womb and you're like, Dominic
Hmm.
is going to be this musician, this composer, this award-winning artist, or was it
Uh,
something that you heard or saw that made you want to get into the music industry?
uh, a combination of things, actually. I mean, I've been musical from a very young age, and
Okay.
there is a little bit of history of music in the family. Like my dad used to play a little bit of the accordion. None of them played professionally, but my grandmother, my mom's mom, that is, she used to sing
Mhm.
in a choir, and I guess that's where my roots of harmony come in. Harmony's been something that fascinated me right from a young age, and yeah, I mean, thinking back, even when I was a little kid, I used to make up nonsense rhymes, and I guess that was the the spark of writing stuff and
Right.
making stuff rhyme, and then which later turned into songs. And yeah, so I know I started playing the piano when I was about 5 or 6.
Okay.
And but here in India, a piano was unaffordable at that time. It was a luxury. I mean,
Okay.
it's still a pretty expensive instrument everywhere, but it was definitely a uh, prohibitively expensive at that time. So I used to go for classes at,
Mhm.
of course, they had a piano there at the teacher's place, and I used to go to the convent school where I was, and I used to
Okay.
practice there twice a week. And then, fine, when we couldn't afford the piano, I picked up a guitar, and
Mm.
a family friend just gave me a chord book and showed me a couple of chords, and yeah, I just got started from there.
That's
And
fantastic.
nobody believes me when I say I had stage fright. I had a lot of stage fright right up to the time I was about 17 years old. So I used to play the guitar, used to sing, but in the confines of my room.
Right. Right.
And then I mean, I used to watch bands playing on stage, and that kind of attracted me. I liked the vibe,
Right.
between people dancing. That's the time live music was the thing, where people came to dance in restaurants and discotheques and stuff like that. So that kind of fascinated me, and then I started making friends with people who were in bands, and then I slowly worked my way in that way and picked up a lot along the way, basically. So that's how I
That's
got into the music industry, and then yeah, it just went on from there.
you talk about stage fright. So growing up, I was always a shy person, and I mean, my father sings and stuff
Mm.
like that, and I never thought I would be in the music industry till later in life. But I
Mm.
mean, the idea of like performing in front of people, oh my God, that was so foreign to me. I was
Yeah.
petrified until there was a moment where I just didn't care. I was like, you know what?
Mm.
You care much about what people think. Just, have a
Yeah.
good time on stage, know you're
Correct.
doing well, and then that's it. And then that's the way I was able to
Mm.
overcome. this whole stage fright thing. You just have to enjoy yourself. You just have to know within your mindset that you're doing your best, and people are just going to enjoy it. Because that's how you live it. That's how you got to do it. And then the audience engages with you, and it's just it's a phenomenal thing. What do you love most about being an artist?
Oh, the connection you get with your audience is something I can't describe. I mean, that's something I look forward to every time I get up on stage. And it is a little disappointing sometimes when you get a not so responsive audience. But I mean, that's all part of the game. It's something for you to learn and probably rework and fine tune your act a little bit. It's a learning experience every time. That's one thing I've known about being on stage, And the other thing is, like you said, the less conscious you are of being on stage, it's like that stage fright and all inhibitions kind of go with that. You just got to be natural, be yourself, do your thing, and that's it. At the end of the day, you have a good day at work.
That's there. Yeah, that's the way to sum it up. The one thing I won't do is perform in venues that have televisions.
Yeah, that's a damper. That's a damper.
Yeah, it's annoying, and I don't want to be perceived as like background noise. What do you think about that? Because it takes too much to rehearse and create these. We spend a lot of time on marketing and promoting to go into a venue, and then they have televisions on while you're performing. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So that's not a nice thing, and like you said, it's bordering on disrespect for the artist, if I may say.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
I'm like,
we do when we perform with a band. There are times when I play. We do a retro rock kind of gigs off and on. So there are times when we play at these sports bars, and if there's a tournament or something happening, the screen is on, but it's muted. There's no volume. So people who come in to watch, they just have the thing of watching the screen. But there are people who come and they have an eye on the screen, but the ears are open to the band. So that's fair enough to an extent. But not like a television show running in the background or something like that. I mean, a game or something like that is okay. It's like chilling and watching the game at home, So
exactly.
That's fine. That's fine. But otherwise, it's bordering on disrespect for the artist.
Yeah, no. When I perform, I want my audience to pay attention. It takes too long because I hate rehearsing.
Yeah.
I'm going to tell you straight up. I hate rehearsing and going over and over the songs. I used to, and so if I'm doing all of that, you better be paying attention. That's why I love the artist Nina Simone, because Nina Simone would command the audience and tell them, like, there's a video where she tells them, this one young man, to sit down because she's about to perform. I absolutely love that. Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, it took her years. She learned. She was a classical pianist. She learned her stuff. She wanted people to listen to her craft, and you have to respect you have to respect the artist. So I completely love that about her. So tell me about your recent album, Led by the Light, which is a new take on traditional Christmas carols. And you and your wife did that one together, correct?
Yep. That's the first album we did together. Again, this came about thanks to the pandemic. We started work on it just before 2017. In fact, we started work on it, and then we ran into a whole lot of personal stuff, like family stuff and all that needed attention. So we put it on a little hold. We finished one track in 2017, and then during the pandemic, we said, let's get this done. And in fact, the idea came a long time ago one of the early years when I was working with Ricky Cage.
Okay.
He told me, why don't you add some fusion elements into your music? I mean, I was basically a rock guy, rock pop and I mean, you know what I'm saying. I was in a restaurant band, so we were playing a little bit of multi-genre stuff. So he said, why don't you get into something like this? And then I did give it a lot of thought, and I guess over the years, I kind of built up I became a little more knowledgeable about fusion styles and how stuff goes. And, like I mentioned this to another radio host when I was doing a chat here. I didn't want it to end up, like a hodgepodge, basically.
Right.
Especially when you mix in different elements from different parts of the world. So it had to be as exquisite as salted caramel popcorn, I'd say. A little bit of this, a little bit of that, but nothing overpowering the other.
Right, I get that.
Yeah. So, we started work on that together, and then we put down the tracks, and then we called in artists who were good at their stuff to do their bit. So we have, I've used multiple percussion stuff, like Indian percussion, Eastern percussion. There's the darbuka, there's the tabla, there's then the vocal percussion, and the Indian rags, what they sing in sargams, what they call it. It's like the equivalent of scat vocals in the Western thing, where they just sing syllables. That's sort of stuff. And the notes, like as we would go. So we put in stuff like that, and then we got working on it. We finally put it together, started recording it bit by bit, piecing it all together. And at the end of 2021, we had it ready. My wife and I did all the vocals ourselves, and she did most of the main vocals.
Okay.
She's been a choral singer for quite so many years, and she too started singing when she was pretty young. And we have similar tastes as well as diverse tastes when it comes to music. And she's got a keen ear for harmony and for vocal intensive stuff, basically. And she's an artist too. I mean, the album cover and some of the artwork on the album and all that is all her work. So she's got the eye for detail. I don't.
Well, that's phenomenal.
So 2021 November, we released it on the first Sunday of Advent. So we did that. The only thing is we wanted to do a bit of a live performance and launch it, but that didn't happen at that time because there was still some COVID restrictions down here.
Yeah.
Yeah. So let's see. At some point, I want to do a nice, real good show with all the instruments and all that. It's going to look impressive, and it'll definitely sound good, I'm sure.
That's awesome. Now, tell me what Feel His Presence, the song Feel His Presence is about.
Feel His Presence, yeah. Like I said, I used to write songs when I was pretty young in school and, all that. So many of them started out as poems, and then as I got more into the music scene, I started putting tunes to them. And I was involved with a church group in my youth. That was the youth group in the church, basically. And we used to have a lot of activity, engaging the youth in sports and inter-parish activities and competitions and stuff like that. So during one of those things, it's not that I became sanctimonious or something like that, but I do have a strong connection with God and church and stuff like that.
Right.
So Feel His Presence was something which just came when I was deep in thought one day. There's a big question: where is God? How do I find God? And stuff like that.
Right.
So it's like everything around you speaks of God's presence if you only notice it. It's not that you have to look for it. You just have to pay a little attention and listen, and it's up there in front of you. So that's how Feel His Presence came about. And I wrote it as a poem long, long ago. I think it was in the early 90s, if I'm not mistaken. And then I finally put it to a tune much later and recorded it, and that became the title track of the album.
Awesome. All right, I'm going to play it now.
All right.
Everything we see around, trees and every pleasant sound, tell us that the Father's love is here. And even things we cannot see, feelings and humility, tell us that the Father's always near. We can feel His presence everywhere we go. We can feel His presence everywhere we go. In our talking, in our living, in our loving, we can feel His presence Dark clouds rain and the people say, thank God above, His love is here to stay. In our lives He wants to see simplicity and charity, helping people drifting far away. We can feel His presence everywhere we go. We can feel His presence everywhere we go. In our walking, in our talking, in our living, in our loving, we can feel His presence everywhere we go. Birds flying high up in the sky, joy in little babies' cries remind us of the love that's going around. Flowers swaying in the breeze, buzzing up those busy bees, make us sing His praise with joyful sound. We can feel His presence everywhere we go. We can feel His presence everywhere we go. In our walking, in our talking, in our living, in our loving, we can feel His presence everywhere we go.
I like that.
All right. Nice. Thank you.
It's funny because what I listen, some people are always surprised by what I listen to in the car, but I listen to inspirational music. And before it was an inspirational radio channel, it was actually Top 40 channel, and it was bought by this inspirational radio station called K-Love. And funny, that station would just not work. And then I said, okay, I'm going to try the station. And the song that came on was something that I needed to hear at that moment.
Oh, right.
And I just never changed the radio station. It's the one that I listen to all day long, and I absolutely love it.
Great.
And you know, the songs they're very poppy, R&B-ish. Some are country, very now. And I just love it. And I absolutely love inspirational music to the point that now I'm like, I want to do another social impact album, but I also want to do an inspirational album. I think the world definitely needs a lot of that.
True. Yeah, absolutely.
So how do you go about, you know, in today's world as an independent artist, a lot of us do our own stuff, right? We manage, we promote, we market, we do everything. So how do you manage all of the marketing and promoting of your music and all the social media stuff?
Yeah, it is quite a task actually, and I'm not as active as I'd like to be on social media. I know I got to up my game a lot up there, but I mean, yeah, the thing is, I think it's all about connecting with your audience, finding that niche audience first, and then connecting with them, and keeping the interaction going.
Yeah.
I mean, I consider myself someone who's been at the cusp, where we've seen the old way of running your show and the new way of running your show. Like back from a time where there was no social media. I mean, I go even further back and say there was no mobile phones. So it was, landline and that sort of thing. So, I mean, there was a time when we used to send out Christmas cards to people who booked us during the year, just to keep in touch and, refresh connections and stuff like that. And it worked. It worked well back then. So now, of course, the whole thing's changing and it's constantly evolving, I'd say. So I've just got to do it. I mean, it's like running an establishment or your business or your whatever, So you've got to keep that much time off to promote your profession and to promote your act, your art. And like I said, I'm not satisfied with the amount of work I am doing in that department. But thankfully, I do have friends and artists around me who are good at this kind of stuff, and they help me out a lot and give me a little bit of insights, as to how to go about it, and when to time your posts and stuff like that. So it's a learning process all the time.
Yeah, I have Nikki Chris. She uses that all the time, where she schedules her posts. But you see, I can't do that one just because when I post something, it's based on my mood. So I don't know what my mood is going to be. I try to have a joyous mood every day, but somebody can always interrupt that, and so I choose. It's the way I wake up, who I interact with, will decide what is going to come out of it.
I agree with you on that. It's, you've got to. I can't be somebody I'm not. I can't pretend to be somebody I'm not on social media. I can't make it look like I'm happy and chuffed about everything all the time. Yeah, there are times when things are not so good, and I feel sometimes it's better if your audience or your fans know that you're a normal human being like them, and you also have ups and downs, and it's not all it's not all rosy and whatever glam and all that sort of stuff.
Rosy. That's for sure. Now, as we were talking about, networking, promoting and all that stuff, it's definitely different, because back in the day, you could take your record or CD and you could bring it to a radio station and they may play it. Now it's like pay to play. Now you have to see if your song or album can go viral on all of these social media platforms. It's definitely a different game. And obviously there's a lot more people trying to create music. Even people that can't really sing or whatever, they become popular because of something they did or said on TikTok, most of all. And sometimes I find that, it's really, I don't know if you do this, but it's really interesting. I used to, when I listen to music, I would just, listen to the beat and stuff like that. Now I've become a deeper songwriter. I really, truly listen to lyrics. I love to hear how somebody has used different types of words to express a certain meaning. And I try to find the soul of that person, the artist, in their music. Are they just singing the lyrics that somebody else wrote? Do they really believe what they are listening to? It's almost like when it's time to vote in Grammy. I don't care particularly who's on the album, but I need to see the artists themselves. Did they really invest time, their heart and soul in the music? I mean, how do you go about doing things when it's Grammy time?
Yeah, I mean, as a songwriter, that's the thing which connects directly too. I mean, like you said, we start listening to music. You listen to songs, and you go a little deeper. You do get a little bit analytical, I'd say, lyrics and stuff like that. Yeah, I mean, one thing is, I think all of us as artists, we don't just hear the music, we listen to it. We actually pay attention to what's happening in the background, what instruments are arranged, and a whole lot of things like that. Right? So that way, yes, I mean, I'm a strong believer in content. There has to be content. There has to be conviction. I mean, there's no point in somebody not feeling what they're singing or not feeling what they're doing. That has to be there. And that makes a world of a difference. I mean, as a performer, I know it. When I just go up and play perfunctory, I'm not doing justice to myself. I'm not doing justice to my audience. I've got to feel what I'm doing. I have to forget about whatever other stuff has happened during the day. I don't have to carry that up on stage. Yeah. So there's definitely a thing where I do pay a lot of attention and I give a lot of credit to detail when it comes to you feeling what you're doing and actually putting heart and soul into it.
That's right. There's definitely a difference in all of that. Now, tell me about the song For the Children. What is that about?
For the Children, yes. Well, like I said, I started off many, many years ago, and I never ever dreamt of becoming a school teacher. Ever. I mean, and when I was studying, yes, I did look up to teachers, I did idolize teachers and all that, but I never ever thought one day I would be a school teacher. And an opportunity just presented itself about 20 years ago, and I took up the job to teach music in a school. And that was my first interaction with the next generation, I'd say. And I slowly got to know things that were happening to them, in their lifetimes and in their day-to-day life, basically. And things that were different from what happened to me when I was that age. The different kinds of scenarios. And then I started seeing the generation, the change over the generation, basically. And then issues like climate change and global warming and, stuff like malnutrition and things like that, which are pertinent to children, kind of caught my attention. And when we were growing up, our family, mom and dad and all of them, brought us up that we have to share our stuff with other kids, less privileged kids, and all that sort of thing. So this thing kind of opened my eyes. There were people in schools who were not so well off. There were people studying. There was, the rich-poor divide, the haves and have-nots, and all those things caught my attention. And then over the years, I just kept doing my thing in school, and I became more, receptive to listening to kids and, getting their side of the story. And as I kept teaching, I got to grow with the kids I was teaching. And many of them are adults now, and thankfully some of them are musicians. I feel good about that, and we even play together sometimes. So things like that opened my eyes over the years. And then when I did the My Earth Songs project with Ricky and Lonnie Puck, we actually went deeper into the thing in the process of writing those songs. We went deeper into how conditions on the planet, conditions in the environment, conditions in the world, in society, and everything are affecting children. So I'd say for the children was the outcome of working on the Earth Songs project, because I could see that kids around the world faced so many, I say they were deprived thanks to our generation, because we've messed up the earth and messed up the environment and stuff like that. And I titled it For the Children because it's like I'm using this song to appeal to the adults. Let's leave something back for the kids, Let's not be selfish. Let's not be thinking only of ourselves. Let's leave something back for the children. So control our actions as best we can now. It may be too little too late, but at least, the call to action is there.
All righty. Let's play that song.
That was kind of deep.
Yeah. I can still feel the warmth as the sun comes softly streaming through my window, bringing light every day in the morning. I can go barefoot on the beach, my sweetheart's hand in mine, as little crabs try to take a nibble on my toes in the moonlight. Wonder how long will all this stay? Little by little, everybody's gonna hide away, 'cause the UV's coming down. There's a hole many miles above. Gotta wake up to stop it now. Leave a piece of the sun and sky for the children. Gotta feel like simple pleasures playing outside in the rain. Set paper boats in the river running down the street. Gotta wish on a shooting star, then smoky clouds hid them away. Watch its glowworms and fireflies, fascinated still. Wonder if they'll come again. Little by little, everything's going down the drain. Soon and dusk come drizzling down. Every time the rain gods call, gotta wake up to stop it now. Leave a piece of nature's thrills for the children. Took a drink from a roadside tap and pedaled free to school and back. Picked fruits and berries straight off the tree. Bruised my knees playing in the street. Cut my hands trying to fly a kite when the summer breeze came to visit every year. Wish the little ones get to know living man's going on without a care. Every season brings a new fever and worms wriggle out the tap. Gotta stop it right now. Leave a piece of childhood joy for the children. Don't even think of saying I'll be so long gone before the final crisis comes. Look into those innocent eyes. Leave a piece of God's great big sky. A piece of simple joy for the children.
That was beautiful.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
What would you say? Name 3 things you wish you had known before you got into the music business.
That's a tough one. 3 things I would have known. Well, yeah, I mean, I always knew it was, yeah, there's a lot more work in it than you actually think there is.
Yeah.
That's something I've realized. Yeah. And, yeah, I mean, what you see from the audience is just the facade. There's a lot of it that goes on the tip of the iceberg. Yeah. And then, yeah, the second thing is, I'd probably say I would have loved to know more about getting into the production part of it. You know, that's something I find myself a little lacking in the department. So I wish I knew a little more. I mean, I did get a little bit of insight, but it wasn't good enough and strong enough, you know, at the beginning. So I didn't really take a keen interest in that. And another thing which I wish I had known was probably, how do I put it? It's the thing of getting into better channeling of your material. That's something I could have used better, you know, some better information about. It's like sometimes you end up like you've got a ton of stuff and then you don't know what to do with it. You know, which road do you take with it? That sort of thing.
I think what surprised me the most is all the work that has to go into it. I mean, it's 24/7. It is literally 24/7. If you want to be heard and seen in this world right now of music, you better be on top of your game on every social media app. You know, during the pandemic, I took a TikTok course, and they were saying how obviously the videos that do well are the ones where people are being authentic, because you know when people look at those videos, they think, oh, I can do that too. So you know they grab to those. But they said that the requirement is that you should do at least 5 videos a day. That is hard. I've tried it.
Yeah.
But then the problem becomes is that you become inauthentic because you're just trying to look for stuff to say rather than just jumping on TikTok because you have something to say.
Correct.
So I decided, okay, I'm not doing 5 TikTok, and I can't do 5 TikTok. There's just not enough day to be able to do that.
Right.
It's just. I mean, it's just people just have to know. And the other thing that I learned is about how when you start, you get into the music business, the scammers, they almost they smell new blood and they latch on to you. Like oh, I can do this for you. I can do that for you. Oh, this. So you really have to do your research. You have to do your due diligence. When somebody contacts you about collaborating or even telling you they can make you a star, basically.
Yeah.
So
that's true. I mean, I guess like you said, the scammers they're there, and I wouldn't restrict them to sniffing out new blood. They're there. Sometimes if the scammers, like, even they're an evolving lot, like there are new scammers coming in every day, and they don't know that people like us have been around. So I mean, you can sniff a scammer a mile away sometimes.
Yeah, true, very, very true.
I mean, even now we get mails and stuff like that from people. Hey, come on, we can make you the next best thing or the next big thing.
Right.
Come on, we've been hearing that all these years. Forget about it. We've been there, done that.
Exactly. It's just crazy. So what are you working on next? What's on the horizon for you?
The next thing I'm working on right now is I always work some things parallel. So on the Christian music front, I'm planning something a lot more on the inspirational, meditative kind of thing.
Okay.
I'm doing that with a friend of mine who's also a school teacher of music in the US.
Cool.
He was here in India, man. He moved to the US many years ago, and he teaches there now. So he's a pianist. So we are working on something together. Like I said, inspirational, meditative kind of thing. And and I'm also working on more children's music for children, basically. It's stuff which have a little moral or lesson to it, but it's not something that sounds preachy. It's not like don't do this and do that and that sort of thing. It's just a little thing like we did with the Earth song, something that sparks the curiosity, sparks an awareness in the kid, and helps them grow up inculcating those values that you're trying to put across. It's not like I'm telling you to do this, but look, kid, this is what's happening. So it'll be better if you think twice before doing something or something like that.
Right. Fantastic.
And promoting some good habits which are dying out. Habits like reading, habits like making up your own games when you don't have, your batteries are running low or something like that. You don't have to play electronic games all the time. Come on, you can go out and play a game of hopscotch or marbles or something like that.
Yeah. No, it's.
I guess I'm old school.
No, I think we need more of that. I think, like, I don't like to be on the computer or even on my own phone all the time, but I am every single day. I think that kids growing up today, what's sad is that they're not going to know how to speak because, now that you have all this LOL, RTFOL, whatever. So, the kids growing up today just have a language barrier. Because everything's like fast paced. They want to get to whatever they want to get to. They just don't want to take the time. So I think that and reintroducing those things would be fantastic because I think kids need to learn that there's things that you can do without using a computer. Like use the marble. I used to have this game that I was little that I forgot about, but it's one that you sit. All you do is sit on it and you spin yourself around. That is what I played back. None of the stuff that they have out here now.
Correct. I mean, our generation, I guess, you just made up stuff with what you had around you. You just learned to have fun with what you had around you. Yeah.
That's right.
I mean, like you said, this little thing of just spinning around. We used to, my brother and I, when we were little, we used to just hold a round plate or a round tray or, stuff like that, and pretend that we were driving a car, sitting in a box, something
exactly.
like that. Complete with all the actions, with your feet on the clutch and the accelerator and all that. But that was it. And you just made the sound of the vehicle with your mouth, and you got happy. That's it.
And you enjoyed yourself,
thoroughly.
There's this thing called a slinky. It's just this metal thing. You would just throw it down the stairs, and it would go walk down the. That was it.
Oh, yeah.
That was it. And you had a good time. There weren't all these computer stuff and blah blah blah. It's about going back to the simple life, the simple way of doing things.
Yeah.
I totally agree. I think the world definitely needs that.
Yeah, simple joys, basically.
I like that. Simple joys. That's the name of a song. That could be the name of a book. Simple joy. But yeah. Well, Dominic, thank you for being on Chatting with Nat. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, Natalie. Thank you so much for having me. My pleasure.
I got to hear some of your new stuff, which is fantastic, and I can't wait to hear more of what you've got in store for the rest of the world.
Fingers crossed. I'll hope to get that done soon and put it out there.
I'm sure you will. And I'll be watching you out there.
Sure. Yeah, we will be in touch, definitely.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah. All right, everybody. This was award-winning singer-songwriter Dominic D'Cruz, who's amazing. You can buy his music. I know everybody likes to stream things now, but artists need to make money. We need to make that money so we can live, because we're trying to follow our passion, our dreams. And if you want to find Dominic, you can go to DominicDcruz.com. Facebook is Dominic D'Cruz. Instagram is the same. He's on YouTube. He's on Spotify. You can find him. And maybe if you want to work with him, you can contact him too. I'm sure he's open. Instructor, multi-instrumentalist. He does it all. So you got to go and find him. Thanks again, Dominic.
Thank you, Natalie. Nice talking to you.
All right, everybody. Until next time on Chatting with Nat. Chatting with Nat is a podcast for independent women seeking to speak their truth and to break down barriers. We host honest conversations that help to guide and empower women. Speak your truth and set yourself free. Let your voice be heard.
With Lucky Land Slots, you can get lucky just about anywhere.
Dearly beloved, we are gathered here today to... Has anyone seen the bride and groom?
Sorry, we're here. We were getting lucky in the limo and we lost track of time.
No, Lucky Land Casino, with cash prizes that add up quicker than a guest registry.
In that case, I pronounce you lucky.
Play for free at LuckyLandSlots.com. Daily bonuses are waiting. No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. 18+. Terms and conditions apply. See website for details.